but those are my friends that can see me. I'm just going to talk into a black screen and say, hello, my dear Facebook friends. I am so happy that you're joining me tonight on my launch of the 21-day Spread Thanks Gratitude Practice, or challenge we're calling it. So for those who may not know who I am, I just want to give a little intro. My name is Elena Anguita, and I'm the author of a book called Spread Thanks, Create Miracles with the Power of Ink. And it is a book and a movement called Spread Thanks that I launched 5 years ago when I started this practice of writing a thank you note every single day. And you may ask yourself, why did you start this practice? So just to give you the backstory, I've always felt that we are here on this earth to do something, to contribute somehow. And within that mindset, August of 2014, so it's close to 6 years ago, as I was completing the mundane task of putting laundry away, I was stopped dead in my tracks by what I call a whoosh. It felt like this surge of energy that stopped me. And in my mind's eye, I saw the phrase, a thank you a day, so vividly, and it was so impactful that I knew I had to act on it. And I knew that the action was to write a thank you note every single day. So I started, and what I noticed immediately, that was whatever mood I was in before I wrote a thank you note. Maybe it was a rainy Monday and I had a long day ahead of me and I was kind of in a grouchy mood, or even if I was happy, but whatever mood I was in before I wrote the thank you note. After I was done with a thank you note, it was elevated to one of gratitude, to a much more positive energy. And then it would go upon my day in this more positive state of mind. What I also noticed immediately was whenever I would write a thank you note and feel more positive, then something positive would happen that day. I would call it a serendipity, but something that caused me to be grateful. And I asked myself, I wonder if my little act of gratitude was actually attracting more reasons for me to be grateful. So I started keeping track of these little serendipities in a journal. And the serendipities grew so big that I started calling them my daily miracles. And then they grew so big that I knew that I couldn't keep this practice to myself. I had to share it with others and help them improve their lives and add positivity into their lives, which is the reason for my book and my practice. So that gives you, and now it's not just a book, I have a kit that includes the book, a set of thank you notes, and a journal. So it has really grown to something really, really quite large. So that's a little about me. But let's talk about this wonderful launch that we're having tonight and why this time that many of us are faced with this unprecedented event. This, COVID-19 is certainly unprecedented in my lifetime, and I suspect it is the same for you. And our lives are different, and it's happened pretty quickly. I mean, as early as maybe 6 weeks ago, I remember being able to go into a restaurant and have a meal or meet people at a bar or go shopping. And now those things are very different. And some of the things, of course, that we're seeing in society, and awfully sorry for people who are having a celebration or having an event. Any bride that was planning to get married this time of the year, well, I'm sure those plans are different. People having a graduation. My nephew David is a senior in college, and his graduation, which was slated for June, is just either postponed or canceled, but certainly not according to plan. And obviously, for those people who may have lost someone special, a loved one, this is particularly challenging because it's so hard for us to even get together in a group. And I think we're all being challenged. As positive as I am, and those of you who know me know that I'm very positive, I've had my own freak out moments. In my day job, I work in educational sales, so I'm used to traveling a lot. Well, I'm not traveling. I'm kind of holed up in my house, grateful to still have a job, but I'm really confined to my house. And it's funny because other people are I'm very lonely these days because I'm confined. But some of people I know that are families that now the kids are home from school and everybody is kind of stuck together, right? 24/7. As a matter of fact, kind of funny, I had a Zoom session with a client of mine, and it was we turned the video on, and so I could see her workspace. And it was the confines of her garage. And she said, Denise, you're in a garage. And she laughed. She said, I moved my office to my garage so I could have some peace and quiet. So she has too much family time. I have so little. And, but anyway, to give you my freak out story. So a couple of weeks ago, I was working 24/7, but I needed to go and get some groceries. And it was the day where the CDC had recommended people wear masks, but it wasn't mandatory. Well, I didn't have a mask because I hadn't been out in forever. But so I go to the grocery store without a mask. And I am telling you, I suffered some major public shaming. People were giving me glares and people were trying to keep their distance. And I felt so weird because I wasn't wearing a mask and everybody else was. So that was my little freak out moment. And then most recently, when I went to the grocery store with a mask, I realized that I really can't breathe well with a mask. So it's just all this to say, I think we're being super challenged, and I totally get it. So why this practice now? Well, we have a lot of negativity. People are losing their jobs, of course, and the news is very negative with this keeping track of this disease, right? This pandemic. But there's also a lot of positive happening right now. They say that, skies are clear now that, we don't have emissions into the atmosphere. They say that, there's some good news happening related to some potential treatments of COVID-19. So that's positive. And even most recently, I spoke to my cousin Rosemary in New York City, and I called her right around 7 o'clock at night. And so 7 o'clock came and she said, I'm sorry, we're going to have to stop because we have to cheer. And I said, well, what do you mean cheer? She said, we always cheer at 7 o'clock at night for all the people who are in the line of duty, being the medical staff or delivery people or whatever. And they opened the windows and they started like banging on pots and pans. I'm screaming through my phone to be part of this beautiful celebration. So I'm here to tell you that I believe at any one given point in time, we have a lot of negativity, negative news, but we have a lot of positivity, positive news, and they're coming at us at the same time. The choice is ours, which we choose to focus on, the positive or the negative. And I absolutely firmly believe now more than ever, we need to put more positivity because this situation is so challenging. So I offer to you, and I'm so happy to launch a 21-day Spread Thanks Challenge. Why now? Well, because this is the perfect time. We need positivity, not just in our lives, but to actually add it to other people, because it's this exponential positive effect that happens with Spread Thanks. But it's also a time, I believe, that we can be a little more quiet, right? We're stuck at home. We have a little more time. So this might be a time of reflection to take 10 minutes a day, maybe 15 minutes a day. Think about somebody whom you want to thank. It could be, those that are working super hard right now, whether they be in the medical field or whether they be in the grocery store, whether they be delivery people or the sanitation workers, but they're working super hard to make sure that we have grocery stocks on the shelf, that things are working according to normal. So we may definitely want to thank them, but certainly look to friends and family. I am increasingly grateful for the little acts of kindness that are coming my way these days. My friend Kathy brought me some tulips that adorned my Easter table this year. And I was so appreciative of that. So just look around and find a way, perhaps with these thank you notes, to reconnect with people, because we are feeling disconnected because our social distancing is causing that. So I think this is the perfect time for us to embark on a project. It's 21 days. I hope it will turn into a lifelong habit of yours, as it has been in my life. But I ask you to give me 21 days. So how does it work? Let's talk about the mechanics. In the comments section, you should be able to see the LinkedIn bit.ly. So if you don't have it, it's bit.ly, which is bit .ly / spread thanks, and join this challenge, and you will receive a few emails. But this email will have the 21-day gratitude challenge checklist, which is super helpful because it's a document that has like the 3 steps of spread thanks, how to get started. And it has some tips and techniques if you're feeling a little struggling with it. I totally get it. So we're going to help you through it. And then it has this wonderful checklist where you can actually record, print this out and record the people you were thanking. And I love this part because it's going to help you feel progress through this practice, right? So you're like, hey, I've thanked 5 people so far, 7 people so far. And if you do get discouraged and miss a day, please don't worry about it. I mean, honestly, there's no right or wrong way to do this. It's just a matter of doing it. So please join so we can start communicating, and then write thank you notes. This is mine, it's part of the kit. So these are the notes I typically use, my spread thanks notes, but it can be anything. It could be a regular thank you cards, which are available in grocery stores. I did check because I know Hallmark stores are closed. But you can get them at the grocery store. It could just be a simple piece of paper. It doesn't have to be anything fancy or formal. And the other thing I would recommend you do is don't worry about things like, is my handwriting perfect? Is my grammar okay? It's been a long time since I've written a thank you note. Please dispel all your self-doubts, because there is no such thing as a bad thank you note. I promise you, because I've been doing it for over 5 years, and I'm a walking testament to the fact that this works. I have 5 years or close to 6 years later, never been happier, healthier, most prosperous, more at peace. So it's a practice that just continues to give that much further. And I guess the last thing I might ask you to consider is journal this practice. That's something I still do, and this is the little daily miracle journal that is part of my kit. Again, I'm not endorsing it. I'm just saying it's what I use. It can be anything. It could be a notebook, a scrap of paper, but you may want to journal and say, hey, how did it feel for me to write a thank you note? How did it feel if you delivered it in person to somebody, let's say at the grocery store, or maybe the mailman or whatever? How did that make you feel? And please be on the lookout for those wonderful things, those positive events that are going to come into your life, because I promise you they will. So that's in a nutshell the 3 steps and the practice, and I'm inviting you to join me, and I'm so delighted that you are here with me today on this launch. So we're launching today. Yay, yay. I hope we have many people joining this movement. And then what we will do is we will meet once a week at this time on Facebook, and maybe next week we'll get the kinks worked out, so I get a chance to actually see the screen and not just speak to a blank screen. But we'll meet, and I'm here to encourage you. Please share your stories. Let's create a community where we can just support one another in this practice. So, so that's the launch. I should have a bottle of champagne and pop it so we could all cheer this wonderful, wonderful practice at this time that is most desperately needed. So I would like to see if there are any questions. I don't know if Stephanie, who is helping me with this little Zoom, are there any questions from the audience?
Yes, there is. The first question,
perfect.
what do you do when you're not feeling very grateful?
Well, that's an awesome question. And there are times during this challenging pandemic, I feel the same. I feel a little frustrated. What I try to do is be present and focus and just have quiet and say, okay, I'm not feeling grateful right now, but think of a time, think of a person perhaps in your past that did something special to you. And I promise you, if you think about it, if you are present, somebody is going to come into your mind, and then write a note to that person. But honestly, if you are, I don't want to give you platitudes either. If you're feeling really in a bad time, perhaps you want to just say, okay, maybe not now, give myself a little time. If you can go for a walk to just regroup, um, just do so and come back to the practice. But to me, if you are present, if you give yourself a chance to just whew, take a deep breath, focus, be present, you will be able to find gratitude or somebody to be grateful for. So I hope it helps, or reach out to me. I'm here to help you, be your cheerleader. So please reach out via social media, and I'm happy to help you one-on-one for sure. We're in this together.
Great. We have another question. Who should I send notes to?
So great question. So the original theory or thought behind this particular challenge was actually to thank those in the line of duty. We have people, perhaps some of your friends who are nurses or doctors, or people who are working in the post office or grocery store clerks. So just, I think it would be wonderful for us to just show our gratitude to them because they're working so very hard. However, always look at your friends and family, and look at your coworkers. Look at people in your sphere who should be thanked. So don't limit it to the people who are in the line of duty, although the original intent of this practice was probably to do that. Open up, cast a wide net. You can thank yourself as well. There's the ability to say, I did something special, or I've been patient with my kids, or whatever the case may be at that particular time. And don't hesitate to write a note to yourself and keep that note and refer to it sometimes. So believe it or not, I've done that sometimes myself. So great. Hope it helped.
Great. We have another question. Is it
Sure.
hard during this time to spot little serendipities during the gratitude practice, being that most of the country is quarantined?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. So this is not the time where everything's rosy and hunky-dory, which is precisely the time we should be doing it. Because again, what I would ask you to do is be present and focus on what happened in your day. I was happy, I was grateful to get together with a very small group of people. It was 2 people for Easter, and I was super grateful to be able to do that. Or I'm finding ways to be grateful in the smallest of things. So I totally get it. I totally get it. This is a challenging time. So through this community, perhaps, if you join and we can communicate and we can talk, we can find reasons to be grateful. If you look for them, they're there. Again, it goes back to taking the stream of information that is coming to us, both the negative and the positive, and trying to focus on the positive. Again, hope it helps. Any other questions, Stephanie?
Nope, that's all the questions for now.
Awesome. Well, I want to thank you so much for joining me tonight, and hope to see you next week. Please try the practice. I am sure, especially if you're feeling particularly challenged, you may think that this is just an exercise in futility. What I would ask you to do is try it. Try, do 1 note, do a 2nd note, and see the kind of transformation that will happen with you, with the person you're giving it to. And to me, a thank you note is absolutely an act of kindness. And an act of kindness has been known to raise your vibrational frequency and actually boost your serotonin and your well-being and actually your health. So these days of needing to stay as healthy as we can, this would be another step toward that process. So thank you all for joining tonight. Hope to see you next week, and please reach out. Please join the group, reach out through social media, and I am here to support you. So thank you so much. With love and gratitude, I bid you goodbye. Take care. See you next week. Bye now.